On today's episode of Kilts and Culture with USA Kilts, we try the Glenlivet Enigma. Riddle me this, Erik. Who's got 2 thumbs and loves whiskey? This guy.
Oh, God.
Welcome to Kilts and Culture. I am Rocky. This is Erik.
Victorian England had a huge influence on the fashions and styles that were happening in Highland dress in Scotland.
Tartan is Scotland's gift to the world, and it is your personal heritage story.
Howdy, boys and girls.
That's my
Welcome
line.
to Kilts and Culture. I am sick, and this is Tired. I am Rocky, and this is Erik.
Yo.
Today, special treat. We're here. We're alive. That's
We
the special
made it.
treat. Yeah, we didn't cancel the show. As you may or may not hear, my voice is not the best today. So, I apologize in advance for any sniffling or crackling of said voice. However, we suffer for our art. We are still here for you people.
I was going to say, on the plus side, you could do a really good Gilbert Godfrey right now.
No, he's more nasally. He's higher. It's more like Harvey what's the other comedian? Had like the 5 o'clock shadow beard. Harvey something.
Yeah.
Harvey something.
Oh, it's gonna
Not
bother me.
Weinstein.
Oh, we
That's
should
not-
mention we got
that's the bad guy.
Ian in the MC
Oh, yeah.
chair today because Mac is off shooting the Kaiser's troops.
Is it Weinberg? Harvey Weinberg.
No, that doesn't
I don't know.
sound right
Damn it.
either. It's gonna really bother me now.
If you're out there and know who the heck I'm talking about, the guy that talks like this, the bigger guy.
yeah. Independence Day.
Yeah, him. Anyway, special treat. Woo. Today we have, from our good friend Stephen Small, the Glenlivet Enigma. Ooh. This is part of their mystery series. I don't know. There was they did a couple of these, right?
Code series.
They
I
did
think it's
Code
called, right?
series and they did the
Yeah.
Enigma. I don't know. It's something from Glenlivet. So we cheated. We got the tasting notes. If you don't want to cheat, don't listen. Turn us off right now. There was like a puzzle, a crossword puzzle thing that you had to do. Took like an hour or something like that to get all the code
To get the
all the
tasting
data
notes?
for the tasting notes. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Nice.
yes, unfortunately.
What a clever gimmick.
Yes, it is a clever gimmick. Unfortunately, I didn't do it. That sounded like too much effort, frankly. So I am pouring out this right here. Mr. Ian, why don't you come collect your glass as I spilled little drips of this all over the place?
This will cure your cold.
We'll find out.
Is
And
that-
while you're here, why don't you tell us about what tartan you're wearing, Ian? Is that enough scotch?
I am wearing the Dark Island Peat tartan, part of the Hebridean line from House of Edgar.
That's
and,
lovely.
And you got that style and sporran on today, too.
Yep.
Ooh.
Highland Coo
Moo.
made from Highland Coo fur.
Exactly.
Highland Coo.
And Mr. Erik, there's yours. What are you wearing today?
I'm wearing Scott Green Weathered. One of our favorites around here, actually.
It is.
Yep.
Today, I am wearing, you can't really see it well on the thing there, I am wearing Stewart Hunting Tweed, Stewart Hunting Weathered Tweed. So it's pretty cool tweed tartan from Martin Mills. Yeah, I dig it. A little warm, but not bad.
Is it? Really?
Yes,
Okay.
because it's tweed. All right. And you have tasting notes for
I do.
the Enigma.
Okay, so should we talk about the nose first? Since we're gonna sniff it first.
It's a sophisticated single malt Scotch whiskey matured in mixture of America oak barrels and finished in ex-Canadian first fill rye barrels.
For the record, that the text on the screen actually came literally directly from their website. That is not typos on our part. That is exactly how they have it on their webpage.
What do you mean? I call them America oak barrels all the time.
America oak barrels.
Yes, and ex-Canadians. they killed the Canadians. So, all
So
right.
we're looking at, for the nose, we're looking at baked red apple, creamy toffee, and cinnamon, combined with delicate floral aromas and a touch of violet on the nose.
Touch of violet.
I may be getting one of these things. This all sounds
Yeah.
like hot nonsense to me.
I'm
Hot-
sick, so I
hot
got nothing.
nonsense.
Yeah.
Hot nonsense.
That sounds like a cocktail.
It's prepared it. They've prepared it in advance. They've cooked the nonsense.
Yes, it's much better than the lukewarm nonsense that we
Yeah.
normally have.
Yes. Very, very true. Very true.
Tepid nonsense.
I get uneven nonsense. It's just like in the microwave. It's just like it's cold in the center and overdone.
Fair.
So
I get a lot of alcohol smell.
I think I'm getting that baked red apple a little bit.
I'm
It
getting
has like that alcoholic apple drink, hot
Kinda.
hot apple.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting like
Okay.
a slight cinnamony and a, caramel.
Yeah. I get the cinnamony
But
a
yeah, a
little
lot
bit.
of alcohol.
I get Dayquil.
That's what you
Talk
had
about
before.
cocktails.
Just pour a little bit of that
Oh,
in.
dude, I'm off the rails today. I got Dayquil. I got my caffeine drinks. I got my coffee. I got Scotch. Phew, it's going to be a great show, guys.
Not that I'm saying it will be, because I've never had it, but if this is as bad as the smoke had, maybe mix a little Dayquil in there to water it down.
All right.
Nice.
All right, let's give it a little sippy sip.
Launch it.
So we're looking at fruity aromas of pears and juicy pineapple, followed by spicy flavors of sweet ginger, licorice root, and subtle fresh mint leaves on the palate.
And if you don't get all of that, you're a complete loser.
I'm literally tearing up. It's burning my sore
It's so
throat.
freaking... Yeah, okay. It is so burny.
It's burning my sore throat. Oh, this is spectacular. Quick, say something emotional so it looks like I'm crying on purpose.
Run the ad. Run the ad.
Run the new ad. Yeah, there you go. Oh, we should have done that. We should have them load that into...
Yeah, I know. I'm trying not to make it too commercially.
It's very burny and very short for me on the palate, and very sweet, oddly enough. Getting that, Mr. Rager.
I'm getting the oak. I'm getting a little bit of the sweet. It's my flavor meter is whacked today.
It's really hot.
Yeah. I feel it like it warms my mouth and and gullet and all the way down.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Sweet.
it's not like peppery hot. It's just it's
That
warm in my
alcoholic
guts.
warmness. Yeah.
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 If I came in from like shoveling snow, maybe
you
something
do.
like this, warm you up. Oh yeah. All right, let's
Put a little water.
Yeah. Open it up with a drop.
Have it up with a drop, Governor.
The finish is described as a long, fruity, and refreshing finish.
What finish?
Yeah. Wouldn't say long. Or particularly fruity.
I'm getting the sweet you guys are describing. I'm not picking up on any of these specific fruit flavors or
Right.
spicy flavors.
Not
but
red
yeah,
fruit.
I'm just getting sweet.
Sweet, a little bit of that hot warmth.
Yeah, just slightly cinnamony, caramelly, very sweet, and then
Maybe talk myself into getting a little bit of that ginger, but I that might be the power of suggestion there. So we do have one question related to
Yeah.
this.
Go
How does
ahead.
it compare to the other Glenlivets that you have tried, or was that already answered?
I don't think we
wow,
answered that.
it's been a long time since we have one. Would you remember?
I don't remember specifically because it has been a while since we had one.
I think I remember liking the last Glenlivet we had,
That's what I was about to say.
and this is not that.
This is not one that I like.
Yeah,
It's not cheap either.
that's the
Which-
thing. Yeah,
I think it was we look up, not that we're trying to, look at the price of gifts, but we looked at it. We try to look them up just to give you guys an idea of what, it would cost to drink such a thing. And I think it was like about $150. So
I saw anywhere from like 130 up to 200, depending on who was selling it.
I would say this: if I bought this, I would be annoyed at that price. It's not horrible, but it's not a $150 bottle.
I don't.
I'll take Oban
Yeah.
18 every day of the week over this.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Twice on Sundays.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Ian, let's formally judge this.
So I wish I didn't already know that it was pricey, because that is kind of skewing my thoughts.
You have
here.
to know that it's priced. That it has to factor in.
Yeah.
It's not
brings
the
me down-
entire thing.
Brings it down a little bit.
I know, but it has to factor in some.
Yeah.
It's value as well as quality.
I feel bad rating it so low because it was mighty Stephen Big of our friend to share this
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
I am saying this for everyone out there and for you. We always give an honest opinion.
Yeah.
If we don't like it, we don't say we don't like it.
Right.
So we're not trying to be rude about gifts, but we're never going
Yeah.
to lie, and that's the point.
I'm not a fan. Part of that is as my palate has changed over the years. I definitely go for the smokier now. Glenlivet is definitely not a smoky style of Scotch, so I shouldn't expect that. So it's a little unfair to bring that to the table. But I can't see myself ever buying this. I got to go 3.
Ooh, wow, that's
3-0
out of 10.
super low.
Yeah,
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I might
You've
have
seen the show before. You know it's out of 10.
I don't watch the show. I might have said 4 if I didn't know it was expensive, because it's not bad. It just, I don't know. It's not for me. If it's pricey, it's even lower.
I don't know, the water cut it down a little bit, and I'm gonna have to buffer mine a little bit because I'm not getting everything due to cold. So,
Well, welcome to my world, my poorly developed palate. I don't dislike it as much as I did. That's a great way to start it. The one we had last month with the what was it
they all run together.
It was
for a
the
while.
that we had last month, which I didn't like, and I gave it like my lowest rating ever.
Right.
It's like a 4 or something. I would call this about, I'll say a 4.3. Like I'm expecting it after it's been able to breathe a bit, it's gonna improve. But it's not as complex as they're trying to make it sound. I'm not. It's funny because it's like every time we have something that has like any kind of a gimmicky name to it or something, I get biased against it too early. You know what I mean? It's kind of like
It's like video games based on movies. They're never as good as the movie because they're rushed to come out.
or movies based on video games.
That'd be weird. I know what's happened, but yeah.
Insert Witcher reference.
So
here.
you're 4-3, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. I'm about a 4-5. If it's the only thing that was there, sure, I'll drink it. But it's not what I was hoping. Not what I was hoping. I appreciate Stephen Small's gift. Thank you very much, Stephen. Do not let this poor score dissuade you from giving us more Scotch.
In fact, you might have to, just as a control. You know.
Exactly.
The
No, we appreciate it very much.
It's funny because we were joking in the department all week about how it's an enigma because they basically went around to all the barrels in the building and just took, what do we got left? I don't know. Okay, that's good. What's in it? Who knows?
What's the
Or it's sabotage. It's a German whiskey.
Listen, all of y'all.
It's the Enigma whiskey. You know, deciphered by the Alan Turing Distillery. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yep.
It's a code I don't want to break.
World War II jokes.
Yes. No, I'm thinking, what's the drink? What, the bartender's joke that when you just take all the trays from the bar at the end of the night and you pour it into a drink.
Like a jungle juice kind of a thing.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That sounds awful.
Maybe not quite that bad, but not great. So anyway, cheers. Thank you for your gift that we gave.
This very puzzling whiskey.
Yes, exactly.
We're very difficult to buy presents for. Our families hate us on
Hard to shop
Christmas.
for.
Pretty much. Fans hate us. Stop.
Oh boy, another kilt pen. Thanks.
All right, boys and girls, load in the questions. Anything you have, we are but your humble servants here, as always, to answer any kilt and/or culture-related questions.
Until he keels over.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Indeed, Mr. Eric. While they are
Oh
loading
yeah.
them
Okay. Let me
you start us off.
Let me do this.
Oh, still burning.
The Mighty Lion clipboard. I gotta repaint this. I didn't actually paint the line, but I think it's showing its age. All right, let's see. Now, okay, here's the thing. We do not try to make this show a commercial for our stuff, but this question is about our stuff. Just fair warning. So, Mark Swan said to us, hey, you recently had a TikTok about the sterling color tartans and sports teams.
It's actually a really good question. Now, there are a couple pro US sports teams that do have tartans, but not many. So, we came out with our sterling color collection. We have the sterling red, if you're a fan of the Phillies. We have the sterling purple, if you're a fan of the Baltimore Ravens. If you're a Flyers fan, we got the sterling orange. If you're a Penguins fan or Steelers fan, just ran out of cloth.
I'm curious if the original sterling was made for sports or just as something universal. What are its origins? Would sports tartans be registered or have to be registered? FYI, I might use sterling as an excuse to get my sports fan family into my odd hobby. Let's go Red Wings. He got a mistake right there.
He misspelled Flyers.
He misspelled
it's fine.
Flyers,
Yes.
but that's okay.
It's all good.
So what's the origins of the sterling tartan? And you should describe it for anybody out there who doesn't know it. And
Sure. Back in when did we try to do rental stuff? Was it
It was like right after I
13.
started. Yeah.
When did you start? 13, 14?
13.
Okay.
Somewhere in there.
In the Wayback Machine here. Back in 2013, 2014, somewhere around there. We threw our hat in the ring for the rental, the kilt rental thing. Spoiler alert, hated it. So we no longer rent. But when we went to do that, we wanted to have tartans, thinking of it through a bride and groom type, mentality. We wanted to have it Scottish national, Ireland's national for, bride and grooms who wanted to have an Irish or a Scottish bent to the wedding. Mm-hmm. And then we also wanted to have other tartans that would either be different colors or, work with different themes in the wedding, that kind of thing. So we also did our American heritage. We did the Celtic nations as a red tartan. Mm-hmm. And then we wanted one that was a gray color palette tartan because that was when the Highland granite and the Hebridean colors were starting to come out and become popular. So we did our version of a grayscale kind of tartan, which was the sterling tartan. Sterling silver, just different shades of gray.
Something you go with any colors your wedding might have.
Exactly.
The bride's flowers or whatever.
Yep.
That's just neutral.
Yep. Neutral was the name of the game. So if none of the other 4 tartans worked for a wedding, the idea was this would work because it's gray. It wouldn't matter.
Right.
So we designed that one. We did a run of it in wool. We have it in our polyviscose fabric. And then about a year ago or so, we said, you know what? Actually about...
It was more than a year ago.
About 5 years ago, we were talking, Mac and Ian and I, as Flyers fans, we were joking around saying, you know what? We got to do something with Flyers colors. We need a Flyers tartan or a Broad Street Bullies tartan, which isn't copyrighted. Or, TM Flyers kind of thing. So we designed a orange and black and gray tartan based on the sterling. We just changed up some of the colors, presto changeo, Broad Street Bullies tartan. And that I've been wearing that kilt to games and things like that. And it got me thinking, other sports teams and other, fans of other teams must want this kind of thing as well. So then we designed our sterling color collection, which is, red, green, blue, orange, yellow, and purple. So that's the origins of the sterling collection and kind of how it evolved over time. Spoiler alert, there's one more
okay.
sterling tartan color coming. Ooh. When did we say it's coming out? I'm not saying what it is.
February.
It will be out around Valentine's Day. That's the closest I'm going to give you to a hint.
I'm glad you said that because I was all set to spill the beans on that. And
Nope.
then, okay.
Nope. No one knows about it. It's a secret. Shh. No one will see this video.
So I will throw quick to get the sort of shameless plug out and get it over with. The sterling tartans are really awesome for cosplay, which is the for those of us who are not as into the sports ball teams. If you wanted to do a comic book character or certain fantasy and sci-fi uniform kind of cosplays, they are actually really perfect for that. Like some of the ladies in the building are going to do cosplay of the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo, and they were going to use the sterling tartans for that. So
yeah,
it's made to order for any of that. Like Hogschmarts, whatever, the Harry the
Potterer,
Harry Potterhead, and the chalice
the
of
school of magical
yuck.
Kids that run through train walls.
Right.
Or something.
Yes. Apparently they have colors for things, and sterling is good for that too.
Yeah.
But here's the greater question: do sports teams have to register tartans, or do they register tartans? Do any have registered tartans, or do they just not care?
For the most part, they don't care. I know that over in the UK, a bunch of football clubs have their own tartans registered. Mm-hmm. There's more of those coming out on a regular sort of basis. In the US, there's a couple. We researched it when we did that TikTok, Matt. What were the teams? Do you remember?
The Jets and the Lions both have official tartans.
The Jets and the Lions for the NFL have official tartans, but not any other teams that we could find. There are the thing I always found amusing as a Flyers fan, if I haven't mentioned before, I like the Flyers. As a Flyers fan, they have like black and orange and gray like tartan ties and like pajama pants and things like that. But none of them are like a real tartan. They're just kind of tartan-esque. It's like, why don't you just take the extra quarter step and design a frickin' tartan? Or let me do it. I promise it'll be good. And just, jump over and do it. But no, not many sports teams have it. In my mind, in my marketing brain, they are missing a trick. They absolutely should design a tartan and register it. Even if you're not really going to use it for much, just get it on the books. And then, as you see fit, incorporate it into branding going forward.
Yeah, I think we're biased in that everybody should have a tartan, and tartan is awesome, but we're also not wrong. And you are kind of, it's like colleges, I think, shoot themselves in the foot sometimes by having a tartan but not taking full advantage of it, or restricting it so much that their alumni and their fans can't really enjoy it. So same kind of a deal.
There are several collegiate tartans.
Yes.
There's more of them than there are like professional sports teams tartans.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
But,
We've actually done a few.
You don't have to actually worry about it being a registered thing if you're. If they have one, I mean, would they just copyright it if they wanted to? I guess they wouldn't bother registering it with the registry.
Most colleges that have designed tartans have registered them with the tartan register as well.
Okay.
And then they also copyright them.
Yeah.
So they fully control the whole design and the passing out or the usage of said design. But there a lot of places are missing a trick. And from being just a regular sports fan, I would say forget whether it's official or not. Wear a kilt. Wear a tartan with your team stuff in a color that matches with your team stuff. That's why we did the sterling colors. There are clan tartans that match specific teams. There are universal tartans that match specific teams, but we wanted to design our own, so that's why we did the sterling color tartans.
Yeah, it's more on the nose. It's simpler.
Yep.
So you can actually it's more flexible.
Yep.
So, but they are pretty cool, if I do say so myself.
I agree.
Yep.
Very good.
I think I thought of a question of the day. I'll save it for later.
I'll throw it to you then.
Okay.
Mr. Ian,
Yes.
what do we have out there in the interwebs?
So before we get into
better.
my first question over here, I want to mention we've got people checking in from all over the world. Scotland, the UK more broadly, Germany, New Zealand, New England, San Francisco, all over the place. Very cool. Before we get into my next question, did you guys want to chat a little bit about the podcast version of the show?
It's in Esperanto.
Okay.
So, do you even know what Esperanto is?
Sure. Let's pretend
You don't know what Esperanto is, Ian. What's Esperanto?
Fast.
Fast?
I don't know. That's what it sounded like to me.
Esperanto.
Just went with how it felt.
It was an artificial language made up in like the 1940s, I think,
Gotcha.
or more in the 1950s.
Sounds familiar.
And it was basically designed to be a universal language to help international relations, and you can actually still get classes in it. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Nobody uses it.
Fair. No. It's essentially English.
More people speak Klingon than speak Esperanto. But anyway, there's a podcast.
Welcome to Kilts and Culture with USA Kilts. We're here to talk about all things Highland dress, the cultures and the heritage that created it, and how to enjoy the kilt in the 21st century.
Yes. We have a podcast. Search our podcast on your favorite podcast getting places.
Podcatcher, they're often called.
Podcatcher.
Podcatchers.
Yeah,
Yes,
Matt was telling
indeed.
us that. Yeah.
Yes. Indeed. We're basically, taking versions of the show, all the different types of longer form content that we are putting out, and we are putting them into podcast form to allow, long haul truckers or whoever else, people with long commutes to be able to listen to Erik and I ramble on for hours and about meaningless crap that no one cares about at all.
Because it's the internet. That's what it's
exactly.
for. Yeah.
Or people who sew.
That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Quite. So please subscribe to the Kilts and Culture podcast at your favorite casting place. And cast spells.
Are you sick by any chance?
Yeah.
You sound like you might be a little
Dude,
under the weather.
It's the NyQuil, man.
Okay. It is just Kilts and Culture. If you plug in Kilts and Culture into Spotify or whatever else, you're going to find it. So,
Yep. Indeed.
It's simple, but it's there. It's effective.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mr. Ian.
So let's start with a question from Justin Frazier. He asked this on YouTube. He says, I know cap badges are typically meant for Glengarry's or Balmoral caps. Would you ever put a cap badge on a flat cap or other headwear?
Personally, no. I've seen it done, though.
Yeah, would I have put it on a flat cap? I wouldn't. It's a bit big for a flat cap. There's not a great landing spot for it on the side, especially the types of flat caps that I wear. On a Glengarry, it fits well, or on a Balmoral, it fits well. There's the what's the spot called for it? The little ribbon.
Well, it's a ribbon.
Yeah, ribbon, whatever.
Hey, why is this bothering? Well, damn it!
It's not cockade.
I know.
That's
Yes, it is called
cockade?
I think it is called a cockade.
Okay. There's a place to put
Where
it,
is it?
on a Balmoral or on a Glengarry. There's not really a place to put it on a flat cap specifically. A lot of guys that wear flat caps will wear like cap pins, and they're kind of like down this side right here, but they're generally smaller. A cap badge would be a large statement piece, if you will, on the side of the hat. So I wouldn't personally wear it.
Yeah. Why am I thinking of the? I don't know why it's bothering me about that term. I keep wanting to say cockade, but basically the ribbon, the gross grain ribbon, which is on a uniform type, a band type Glengarry or Balmoral, is reinforced. So it has there's a place for the badge to stick into. There's a place for the plume to go in. The plume is the
feather.
Yeah, but it's also yes, that's what feather means. Thanks, Sherlock. No plume. The cockade, but this is gonna be one of those days, folks.
Yep.
Anyhow, a regular hat isn't going to have that reinforcement, so you're putting a really large pin and a heavy piece of jewelry up onto a hat. Probably not recommended. I have seen other creative uses for them. I mean, my favorite is the guys who put, like, I know one or two people who have leather jackets for, riding motorcycles and stuff, and they'll have a cap badge on the lapel of the jacket. It's a big honking piece of metal, so it looks good on a big honking piece of clothes, I have one on the roof of my car. Some people do a St. Christopher's medal. Above the yes, and it spins. It goes woo, 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 woo.
Like a Ghostbuster symbol on top of the car.
Stewart man to the rescue. No, but basically I have it mounted in the ceiling of my van above the rearview mirror. So there's things you can do with it, but I wouldn't put it on a floppy hat. It's gonna not work too well.
It'll hang down. That's a good point about the ribbon being like a reinforcement area, because the ribbon, it's the way it's tied or put affixed to the hat, like on the four corners of it. Hackle's the feather. Still.
Hackle's the feather.
Yes.
Okay.
You're just gonna say words. The way that the ribbon is affixed to the hat, this is off the rails already.
It's like 2 or 3 layers of fabric, effectively.
Yeah. But the way it's affixed on the four corners, if you put a cap badge on it, it won't kind of like pull the hat down and over to the side.
Right.
So it's not a bad idea on that. Less so on a flat cap. It can kind of just be a little limp off to the side.
Yeah. I could see it would be fun. I could see putting one on a Western hat, like if you're doing like an Aussie campaign hat. Have it up on the side. Have it there. That could be kind of cool. Okay. I don't know when you would do that, but it feels like a band thing somehow.
Yeah. For me, it's for my headwear, whether it's a flat cap like this or whether it's the boonie hat or something like that. If I'm wearing it out in the summer, it's just headwear's headwear.
Why would you do that?
Yeah.
I get it.
Yep. Pretty much.
Okay.
Is there a rule saying you can't?
No.
Can you? Sure. Would I? No.
Will be a pain in the butt.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Pains in buttocks.
My turn, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sean Moriarty said, I'm looking to start buying the pieces for a formal outfit. You all right there, Brody?
Yeah, it's hot coffee. Woo.
I'm going to start over. Sean Moriarty said, I'm looking to start buying the pieces for a formal kilted outfit. I don't see myself going to any black tie events or anything like that. This would mostly be for standard kind of formal events like weddings or similar special occasions. So he's not like going to the opera or joining a standard society or something. So I don't know whether or not I really need a Prince Charlie. I'm thinking an Argyll or possibly even a Wallace type jacket would be good enough. What say you? Are there considerations I am not taking into account?
So what jacket would you get for formal but not formal?
If you're like crafting your own standard use.
Yeah. If I were to pick a knit with our friend, the use of the term formal. Formal to me is black tie, fancy dress.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm about to give is not fancy dress because it sounds like his question is actually less than formal. What would he wear? So if I went to a wedding, I would not wear a Prince Charlie jacket and vest, nor it feels too much unless it's specifically stated black tie.
Yeah, and let's assume he's attending a wedding as an attendee, not as a groom. So,
here are my thoughts. I would start with an Argyll jacket and vest is going to be reasonably versatile, whether it's or specifically like a black Argyll jacket and vest. Here is my Babe Ruth pointed the fences kind of thing. In the next few years, I think the next trend in Highland wear, to some degree, a smaller degree, is going to be contemporary type jackets, like kilt jackets. So the Wallace jacket and vest, which is going to be like a 3-button front, no epaulets, a simpler cuff like a crail or something like that. A very plain, simple dress jacket as the next trend. So moving away from Argylls as much as, moving into different plainer kind of options.
okay.
So either that or just straight up, just do a tweed. Just do a tweed jacket and vest. It's going to be a lot more versatile for you for going to a wedding or to a bar mitzvah or to a date night kind of thing where you want to dress up a bit but not be over the top formal with a dress sporran and the whole nine, but you want to look nice. My go-to would be a tweed jacket and vest.
Yeah, I think. Okay, 2 points. Get to your future casting in a second, but I'd say a really good flexible option right now would be either an Argyll jacket or a Wallace type jacket, as you were thinking. But I would opt for the black metal Glenlivet buttons instead of the chrome. The chrome, it looks more and more to people looks either fancy dancy or a little costumey, or a little fusty, like, oh, that's what my dad who's in the pipe band wears, or something like that. So, but I think the black buttons are more flexible and kind of look cool. Honestly, they're a little more subdued, but there's still a little bit of a subtle bling factor to them, or possibly antique buttons. Antique metal Glenlivet buttons. Again, that's the traditional square-shaped button that has the remains of writing around the edges, which nobody's exactly sure what its origins are. But that's what I would do as a kind of all-purpose jacket for this day and age. I am personally biased in favor of the Wallace jacket. I just like the cut. I like 3-button jackets. Sue me. I think that
Please
it's
don't
kind of
sue him.
yeah. Well, good luck with that.
To him personally, not USA Kilts, just him.
Yeah. Again, good luck with that. But I think what you're saying is already happening. I think that basically that we've had the tweed trend, and I'm seeing when I look at the current higher outfits that they're offering over there across the pond, I'm seeing more stuff that is kind of similar to what you're saying. But I think different fabrics, slicker fabrics could be next. More, like fabric with more of a shine to it, like a herringbone pattern to it,
like
something
a subtle herringbone or something like that.
Yeah, something that feels a little more posh, but not in your face or fusty looking.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be it.
Not on the nose, just a little subtle, a little hint at something a little bit more contemporary to kind of mix the two, like you mix the tradition with the current day-ish. Yep.
What's funny is when you look at some tartan fashion companies that are trying to cash in on Highland wear and make it look cool and modern for the kids, and some of the stuff they come out with, and the company I'm thinking of, we were just looking at this morning, they come out with some stuff which is a dog's breakfast. And we tend to laugh at it here. I don't see any of those trends catching on that I'm thinking of right off the top of my head. Like kilts are on the bias, and then the tweed jacket with the tartan lapels, or the
Highland shirt with the tartan sleeves.
Yeah, Highland shirt with tartan sleeve.
Good God.
Oh wow. Yeah, I've seen some stuff, but no, chieftain vests. That's gonna be it. Sleeveless jackets. That's gonna be the next big thing.
Cut off?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, cut off. Exactly.
Even in my Dayquil Scotch-induced haze, I would not think of tartan cuffs.
Yeah, and I promise when we edit this, I'll put some of those images up there for you guys because they are entertaining.
Ooh, and I'm sorry in advance.
But here's the weird thing is that in a strange kind of way, those guys got to be out there because a good idea doesn't always come down the main road. You know what I mean? At some point, somebody's going to look at something like that and be like, okay, but what if we did that but actually made it good? What if we did that and toned it down? You know what I mean?
Which one of those things do you think it is?
Well, well, from that particular site that I was talking about,
No, I'm not
probably
answering that.
none of them. But like, I could see jackets that have a shadow tartan effect on the lapel or something like that, or accents. There's
Okay.
there's a lot of fashion shirts and fashion jackets now that play around with the lining of the jacket and stuff
Yep.
because it's like a pop of color or whatever. So like, there's a little bit of something extra that's coming out of the the breast pocket and things like that. So I could see things like that happening.
Or underneath the collar.
Yeah.
Subtle
Yeah, very subtle.
ways to be able to do it. Or things that you can hide so only you know it's there kind of thing,
Right.
like the lining of a jacket or underneath the collar. Those are both things that are kind of neat and different, but
Yep.
very subtle and not in your face like a tartan cuff
Tartan
on
gauntlets.
a white. Yes,
Wow. Look like a flamenco dancer more than anything else.
I was gonna say a bad Renaissance Wonder Woman.
Yeah. The well, it's like tape lapels are coming back now, like the old 1920s, even 1930s boating jackets, which had a brief revival in the 60s. Anybody who's watched The Prisoner, you know what I'm talking about. It's like it was traditionally white, but I see that happening now with more fashionable menswear, like taped lapels are happening. So I could see something like that maybe. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
Subtle. The change in
Subtle, I think, is going to be the key.
the changes in Highland wear that stick are the ones that are more subtle. If it's over the top, ostentatious, or just crazy out there, it tends to not work well. It's the tweaks to the outfit that tend to stick around.
Mm-hmm. But for Sean's purposes, I would really consider the Wallace. If you're a bigger guy, an Argyll cut with 2 buttons is going to look better. If you're a thinner guy, then the 3-button jacket will look nice.
Or
So.
tweed, because you get a lot of options or a lot of,
Yeah.
places you can wear it.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right. Mr. Ian,
Yes.
what do we have next?
So I'm not going to tell you who wrote this question. You're going to know, though. This came in from Facebook. If you could revive any tartan from any mill, which would it be? And further on that note, if you could have a production run of any tartan, regardless of restrictions, which would it be? P.S. Thanks for the Kildare crest. Pairs wonderfully with Hawaiian shirts.
I don't know who that is.
Burn in hell.
Burn in Hell? Hi, Burnin'.
Burn in hell.
Hunka hunka.
Burn in hell from Facebook asked. That may be his new name now.
Burn in Hell?
Yes, indeed.
That's from Cameron Waldron, of course.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
I sold him my last piece
Oh, right.
of
Yeah, right.
Kildare County Crest.
Right on.
And then he
Defiled
defiled
it.
defiled it with a Hawaiian shirt. What was the question again? I don't even remember now.
If you could revive any historical tartan or just be able to do a production run of anything that, regardless of restrictions, what
Anything
would
in
you,
the world.
Yeah.
Anything in history.
Any existing tartan that's
Brandon,
not
you did.
necessarily readily available.
What would it be?
I don't have any real answer. Because
Okay.
mine, I would just do it.
You
What-
are in a
have you-
unique
you've never seen
position.
something-
You are in a unique position.
You've never seen something restricted and gone, man, I wish I could do that. The Balmoral tartan, for example.
All right, here's one.
It's okay.
You go first.
Well, I don't know
go
about
first.
restricted or weird stuff because I think the stuff I'm more interested in tends to be newer. It's not like historical per se. I mean, the Culloden tartan has been done, and that's cool. That's awesome. Although there's debate over the color scheme of it apparently. But
Well, House of Edgar does it as a stock one, but they changed it to like purple, and where Peter Wilson or Peter McDonald has the original, and it's darker.
Yep.
Yes.
So, but I mean, my favorite oddball tartan that has been woven fairly recently, but is not currently being woven, is the Aurelia.
Okay.
I love that tartan, and I think that would really be a good limited edition run tartan to do, Rocky.
It's not historical, but
Not
it is
all.
rare.
It is rare. Right.
I'm going that same direction. The one that I would say, the Dropkick Murphys tartan.
Oh,
That I
okay.
designed for them back in 20-aught something. That they did nothing with. That's the one I wish that they would get off their butts and do something with. Yeah, I love the design. I did it, so I'm obviously biased, but they didn't do much. They just kind of like, okay, thanks, and put it to the side.
Bummer.
Yep, it is what it is.
That's a shame. How about you, Ian?
There's so many tartans that I want that I'm relatively at peace with all the ones that exist that I want to get. So I'm not saying there's nothing I've ever had my eye on.
Right.
My answer, I'll be more altruistic and give a couple of answers that reflect my caring nature. I'd love to see the McDuck tartan done for people like Mac who've always wanted it.
Yep. Okay. Okay.
For selfish
It
reasons,
needs to be redone in a better.
I don't disagree.
So
It is horrible.
McDuck hunting.
Yeah, perhaps.
There's your workaround. Disney hasn't registered a McDuck hunting tartan. You could design it.
Yeah, but I hate Disney.
You'd be sticking it to the mouse. Come on. Anyway, go ahead, Ian.
Eric,
If I'm-
let it go. Let it go.
Oh, jeez.
If I'm being selfish, I might say I'd love to see a run of Belle of the Borders in a heavier weight so people would stop insisting on getting 11-ounce 5 and 8 yard kilts in it.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I
but
actually
people-
like Belle of the Borders, so
Yeah.
I would support that.
There's a lot of people who want it, and they want something that shouldn't be made in 11 ounce, and yeah.
Yeah.
For the record, when Loch Heron was
I'm
here
down.
a few weeks ago, I did suggest to him,
Oh, nice.
you know what you need to do is Belle of the Borders in a 16-ounce because
Yeah.
so many people ask us for it, and it's like, why don't you freaking do it, Loch Heron? You do it in 10-ounce. Yeah. Yeah. I just made noises at him.
For similar reasons and a similar base main color, Alaska State Seal tartan would be good to see.
See, I'm
As
good
a
to go
readily
on that one,
available
but I
tartan.
do love it.
Yeah.
Now, we've been asked to do a Nordic heritage tartan. It is in the works. And I always thought that Alaska State Seal was close to what I would have as an ideal Nordic heritage tartan, honestly, because of the color scheme in it.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. You know what would be cool would be, I'd like to do, I can't answer this exactly, but I would love to do research on some of the tartans that were found on like those mummies in China and stuff like that, and do a tartan that's based on like old like Bronze Age tartan. Just I don't care what part of the world it's from. It's just
Or
it'd be
the,
freaking awesome.
Or the Gallic slave who was brought to Rome or whatever it was, and there's the
Oh yeah.
the mosaic.
Yep.
Look at the mosaic and kind of interpret and do something for that.
It's on the statue of an emperor whose name I'm forgetting. I should remember, but I don't. But yeah, he's brought back as a captive, and the original Roman carved statue actually had tartan carved into the stone.
Yeah.
On the guy. Yeah, that'd be cool. All sorts of ideas.
Historic tartans by Rocky.
Yeah,
a new fashion line.
historic event designed inspired tartans.
With the Falkirk.
Falkirk is just a shepherd's check, though.
I
It's
know.
not hard.
But yeah.
But some of the Hallstatt tartans are neat
Yeah,
also, but
yeah.
but they're so similar to like tweeds and stuff that are out there now. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
exciting to me.
What's the Chinese one? The Tarim Basin?
Yeah,
Yeah.
good call. I had forgotten that. Yeah.
Yep.
Cho. There's not a word for it.
On a mummy.
yeah.
It's found on a mummy.
Yep. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Interesting question.
We'll make Cameron buy all of them.
There we go.
Very good. All right, Mr. Erik.
Or maybe Cameron can come be a model for us and earn his kilt that way. Speaking of history, let's speak of history. Ryan Little, hi Ryan, friend of the show, had a matter of proportion type question. He was saying, how much historic Highland fashion should you allow to influence your own style? In other words, people always joke about things like the faux pas of mixing leathers, right? And we talk about you shouldn't mix leathers. But mixing leathers is actually a very contemporary understanding of Highland fashion, or even menswear in general. So, you know, should you, would you, could you reach too far back in history for inspiration, or conversely, could you be so hogtied by modern convention that you miss out on something? Is there a bellwether? Is there a rule of thumb for throwing historical stuff in, or
Okay.
veering off of the standard course?
Let's start here. Traditional traditional Highland wear, traditional civilian dress in Highland wear, is basically 1900 through 1940-ish was kind of when it was cemented. So, as if you think of, the fancy guy in the Prince Charlie jacket and vest and dress sporran, or the guy in the tweed jacket and vest and the nice head-on, sporran or day sporran, that's kind of when it was in its heyday. That's where it was cemented. Prior to that, you have Victorian stuff. Prior to that, you have Rob Roy. So you have, I'm speaking very, very broadly.
I think you're very broadly.
Yes.
But
so where do you reach for inspiration? For me, it's a mixture of traditional Highland wear and what I would wear anyway. So an Oxford shirt and a kilt and a day sporran to me is fine in today's world. If I was going to be getting dressed up, I would wear something a little more dressy. I'd wear a tweed jacket and vest. I would be a little bit more traditional. I wouldn't necessarily go back 200 years to draw inspiration, but the 20s, 30s U.S. or Scottish, through today for how I would incorporate into my outfit. It's kind of where I go.
With respect, that's not going very far at all. You basically said
Didn't say it is.
You're basically saying I would stick with what is bog standard range these days.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. See, I don't disagree entirely, but I don't know. This is one of those questions where I'm going to be stuck saying you do you, but it's basically it really depends on the context for me. I mean, I will be much more historically inspired and wackadoo with something if it's just casual wear or a casual event I'm going to. Like if you're going to the Ren Fair, all bets are off. It's fancy, just whatever. If you're going for a concert, let's say like a rock concert, then yeah, I mean if I'm going to see like Turisas or somebody, probably nobody out there knows who that is. I would be very tempted to throw on something, like something that looks like a Highland shirt and some mock piece of armor with a great kilt and stuff like that, and just really just go for broke with that because it's fun. It's part of the vibe. Okay. Now on the daily, I would say that like for an average day going to the supermarket, going to visit your girlfriend, whatever, you're not going to go that far. I think that the bits of history that we throw into daily wear is usually just little nods. Like for instance, I'm wearing a piece of jewelry which is based on, ancient Celtic, designs. Okay. That's a ancient Celtic boar there. So that's a nod to something that's like thousands of years old, right? But I'm wearing a modern t-shirt, hat that's not more than 200 years old in its design, not even that actually. So it's like little nods to history, and that's why since Highland wear can do that, that's why we tend to say it is more timeless as a style, because it can incorporate something one day and then drop it the next day and still look cool. So it's depending on how far you go. I think people have been reaching back further than 1900 all along. That's why you have Sheriff Muir's.
Yep.
That's why you have the Montrose doublet. That's why you have the Kenmore doublet, because those are all based on trying to reach for a historical look, but in something which is tailored modernly and easy to wear by a modern person.
Yes, but that's also cyclical. It's more popular now than it was 20, 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. So it's the Prince Charlie was essentially invented in the 1920s-ish,
right,
based on the regimental doublet. But now that we're kind of playing with the fashion a little bit, broadly speaking, and not Americans, I mean like everybody, whether it's Scots or whoever, are playing with it a little bit and going back and looking back to the Victorians for a little bit of inspiration and what can I do a little bit differently. That's where the Sheriff Muir and the regimental doublet and things like that kind of come in.
Yeah, I think, and this is where we've been talking a little bit more the last few months about the concept of history bounding, and that's kind of where that's coming from. I think more people are trying to adapt pre-modern, early modern to 18th century, let's say, clothing into regular daily wear, if you can, where you can. I think that waistcoats could be a place you could play with it. Shirts is certainly a place where you could play with it, and not be so out there that people think it looks like you're dressed up because you're going on stage tonight, at the community theater. On the other hand, if you want to look like that and you want to be over the top, why not? I mean, I spent years as a goth, and I didn't really care about, wearing, ruffles and makeup and stuff in public because that was the vibe, that was the look, that was the tribe. So it's really a you do you question. You can only go too far or not far enough for yourself, but you need to keep context in mind. If you're going to a family reunion, maybe you don't wear the great kilt with the fur vest and the battle helmet. It's like,
See my vest, see my vest, make a real
gorilla chest.
Won't you see my vest? I really like the vest.
I'm rambling because I'm very tired, but hopefully that makes sense. I think look to small bits and then add on based on context is how I play it.
Absolutely.
I think Victorian stuff is easy, and it's definitely coming back.
Yeah. Oh,
there's a lot of Victorian stuff you
all
can
comes
use.
in cycles. Yep. It's going to be that. It's going to be a weird mixture of Victorian inspiration and forward-looking, contemporary type inspiration. Simultaneously. Yep. Mr. Ian.
Yes.
Actually, before this next question, I'm going to visit my good friend Dayquil.
You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to show or mention product. Now you owe them.
Oh, shit.
Now
No,
you're
they
gonna
owe
them
us.
royalties or something. We should have put some gaffer tape on the bottle, guys. Oh well. Too late now.
They're going to come after me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we've got a question coming in from YouTube from Shadow Sniper 9513. What would be a good steampunk tartan? Girlfriend is into all of that, and I'd like a tartan to go with the look.
Did you plan to have this question on after the last one we just said?
No.
Last question we just did? Okay. So to recap for editing purposes, what is a good tartan to choose for a steampunk look? Not hard to do at all.
No, I would start with the weathered color palette.
Yep. Anything weathered would be great.
Anything browns and grays and that kind of thing is going to be very, very good for a steampunk type outfit.
Yeah.
Out of respect to clan tartans, I would probably stick to something universal. The kilts and culture tartan. Anything with brown and grays. And get a gear kilt pin.
Yeah, I mean it's steampunk. Like I often say, stop me if this sounds familiar, but your look depends on the details of the outfit. I can wear a pendant. Anything weathered would be great. A shadow tartan would be fun also if you do like basically a black or a brown or a saffron shadow weave tartan could be fun. I'm not as concerned about the clan tartans if it's a major clan kind of thing. Now if you're doing a historically inspired military-esque, faux steampunk British Empire kind of a vibe, I suppose you could do something like Black Watch or Royal Stewart. If you're going like, yes, I was in the Foreign Service on Mars, then yeah, you could do that. But for the classic grungy steampunk kind of vibe, the old joke is that steampunk is what happens when goths discover the color brown. So, yeah, anything weathered is going to be good.
Yep. Don't have a lot to say about that.
Send pictures, though. I've been wondering if the steampunk scenes was going to revive. It really went fallow for a long time. But I kind of wondered if it's going to come back.
All right, Mr. Erik, what do we got next?
Okay. Here's a techie one from Peter Hutchison, sorry. Aside from cost, is there any reason why you might choose a 13-ounce wool over a 16-ounce? Aside from cost. How much is cost really a factor, for that matter?
Yeah. Why would you choose 13-ounce over 16-ounce? Cost, it actually is not a factor. If it is, it shouldn't be. For instance, 13-ounce old and rare tartans from House of Edgar cost us more than 16-ounce tartans from Loch Heron. So it's just that boils down to the mill and what they are charging for specific tartans or specific weights. So take cost out of it entirely. Why would you choose 13-ounce over 16-ounce? It depends on your personal body heat. Are you somebody who gets hot easily? So if you're if you get warm on a regular basis, then maybe 13 ounce. If you're going to be wearing the kilt outdoors more than indoors, maybe 13. In the summer, maybe 13 ounce over 16 ounce. If you are doing a custom weave and you want to be able to, have kilts for men and kilted skirts for women, maybe you do 13 ounce because you can kind of fudge that down a little bit so women can wear a 13 ounce kilted skirt and men can wear a 13 ounce kilt, but a 16 ounce kilted skirt is too much and an 11 ounce kilt is too light. So 13 ounce is kind of that sweet spot that kind of splits the difference.
So like, you mean like a band, if it was a band or something?
Well,
Like
not necessarily a band.
A group outfit.
But not a band, 'cause a pipe band, like they're going to get one weight. I'm talking about if it's a wedding party or it's a family thing.
Gotcha.
And you want to get a tartan for everybody, and you're going to have women wanting kilted skirts and men wanting kilts, then 13 ounce is probably a better way to go.
Yeah. The aesthetic considerations. Sometimes the set size on a 16 ounce version of a tartan will be larger, and you may decide you like how that looks better as a result. Also, the big difference with 16 ounce and versus 13 is you can see the twill lines more easily. So and this calls for getting swatches. If you're not sure what you want, pre-order swatches of the tartan so you can be absolutely sure what they look like close up, because what I just talked about, the twill lines, is an effect which you're only going to notice when you're very close up to the fabric. And it looks pretty cool. It does give it kind of a more sense of solidity and more of a robust kind of an old worldy kind of a vibe to it. It looks more rugged because it is. So if you want that to be something you're enjoying and looking at all the time, then that would be a reason to choose 16 over 13. If you want the colors to pop and you're not worried and you want a more smooth kind of a vibe, then I would say 13 ounce would be better. Do you agree, Ian?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah, okay.
I would say most of my collection is 13 ounce, but that's just because some of the mills we use have more colors available in their 13 ounce yarns. And I tend to go for the odder things. Those who have been here since the beginning saw my dark island peat, which includes some peach colored lines, which is not a common color for tartan.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be available in 13 ounce. So that's why I have more 13 ounce than 16 ounce. Although when customers are asking me about this kind of thing, I often advise them just go with the version that has the colors you like the best. That's what influences my decisions.
Yes.
If there's Scott green weathered in 13 and 16 ounce weights from the same mill, there might be some subtle variations of color. Let the color dictate your choice more than the weight. I don't think the weight is as critical as some people make it out to be. Though it's not without its distinctions, as you pointed out.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, but they're very subtle distinctions. And I would say I've occasionally recommended and thought in terms of 16 ounce because it's slightly heavier. It's nicer for cold weather. But other than that, it's not a huge difference. I think the look is more important a consideration.
Although even there, I would say that if you're concerned about heat, whether it's because it can be cold and you want to be warm, or it's hot and you're trying to stay cool, I would let 5 yard versus 8 yard dictate that choice.
Agreed.
Way more than weight. If I've got a 16 ounce 5 yarder and a 13 ounce 8 yarder, I'm gonna wear the 5 yard if I'm concerned about staying cool enough. And the reverse in the other scenario.
Totally.
One minor distinction I would make is you said the set size is bigger on a 16 ounce kilt versus a 13 ounce.
Oh, I messed up
Can
again.
be.
No. It depends on the mill and the thread count and all that.
Yep.
So if I'm doing Royal Stewart and I'm a mill weaving 13 ounce, I can adjust the thread count proportionately to be a little bit bigger if I want, or a little bit smaller if I want. So you're correct that if the thread count is the exact same in 16 ounce and 13 ounce, the 16 ounce will be a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
If I'm House of Edgar and the majority of what I weave is 13 ounce, and I want an 8-inch set size for this Royal Stewart tartan that I'm weaving, I just increase the thread count a little bit to achieve that, versus just saying, oh, well, I guess it's only going to be 6.3 inches. You just adjust proportionately. So,
Okay.
yes.
The point is valid.
Swatch
but-
books.
Yes.
Yeah.
The point is valid, but it's not universal. Is the
Correct.
point here?
Correct.
So honestly, let your instinct be your guide in terms of what colors you like better, and if you're not sure, get swatches. Any reputable custom
have
kilt
time.
maker will provide them to you. So, for a fee usually.
Yeah.
We have to charge for ours. But
Yep. Indeed. All right, Mr. Ian.
Processing.
Okay, let's go to...
Actually, before you go out there and ask us questions, we're at the middle of the show. It is time for our Kilt Ambassador. Known as the Scots Texan on TikTok, William E. Holmes says that for as long as he can remember, he's been proud of his Scottish roots. His grandparents were active Scottish clan society leaders with ties to Kilgore, Macduff, MacDonald, and Cochrane. They inspired him with a passion for his heritage. On the paternal side of his family, his second great-grandfather, Hugh Cochrane, came here from Scotland in the 1870s and ended up settling in Fort Worth, Texas. His maternal side has been here since before the Revolutionary War, and their family founded the Tipton Ranch in 1874, where they've resided ever since. William says, I decided that when I wasn't wearing my Stetson and boots, I would be kilted. He got his first kilt at age 13 because he wanted to be more involved in his family's heritage. It was a low-cost kilt, but it was the gateway for him. He admits that he loves the comfort and the looks, but he says more importantly, the kilt is a way that I can carry my family with me wherever I go. I know wherever I am, I'm making my grandma proud, and hopefully my ancestors are looking down on me with the same pride. The kilt shows the world that I am proud of who I am and where I came from in a way that nothing else does. William is someone with a lot of irons in the fire. Aside from being a student at an early college high school, he has a job, co-founded the paintball team, loves classic cars, and plans to start his own business. What kind of business, you ask? Why, a blacksmithing forge, of course. William's been apprenticing as a traditionally trained blacksmith at an outdoor museum in Austin. He wore period clothes and learned on period tools. No gas forge, no power tools. Now he forges at his home, and he wants to make a career out of the art. William advises anyone on the fence about wearing a kilt to just jump in. He says, don't be afraid to start with the budget you have. Always be ready to learn new things about your heritage and about Highland wear, but hold true to yourself when you need to stand your ground. And his kilt wearing has encouraged others. He leaves us with this. Remember that the kilt can be a catalyst for encouraging other people to bring their heritage and culture into their communities. I've met people from Scotland, England, Ireland, Kenya, India, all of whom were ecstatic to know that a fifth-generation Texan is wearing the kilt. Because I wear kilts at school, 2 other kids started wearing theirs. Other kids at my school began wearing their cultural garb as well, where they hadn't really felt comfortable wearing it before. I can't think of a better way of being a kilt ambassador. So here's to our Kilt Ambassador of the Month, William Holmes. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Who out there wants to actually work in a forge? Have you ever done any forging?
I have. I have done some forging stuff. I have a friend who has a forge, and I've done a couple things. I did a fire striker, a couple of nails, because you always start on nails, and I had a socks knife, which is not done yet. But so it's a socks knife made from a railroad spike that's sitting in my basement, half finished right now.
Nice.
So, yeah.
I have never done such a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind.
It's fun.
Yeah, I
it's
would.
good for getting your aggression out.
Yeah, I imagine.
Yeah.
Forging and shooting things.
So, anyway, Mr. William, good luck with everything.
Yes.
You have a bright future ahead of you, I think.
Cheers to you. All right, now, Mr. Ian,
Yes.
who do we have out there?
I do have a question from TikTok. From Work and Digress. A burning question of mine for a while has been, what is the significance of your boar pendant, Eric?
I
Eric.
don't wear this that often, so it's interesting that they have
Yeah, you've
noticed
worn
it
it a
before.
few times.
Not lately. There's not a lot of significance to this one. I mean, the boar was a popular animal in both Celtic and Anglo-Saxon and Pictish and Nordic cultures. It basically people living in a forested environment, going out into the woods and getting mauled by big animals, tended to respect boars. They're seen as full of fiery spirit and aggression and virility. So it was a very popular animal for the old tribal folks to emulate. So you have boars as a crest on Anglo-Saxon helmets was very common, as a motif on shields and things like that. Very common.
Campbell's have a boar as a crest.
Yep, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a good point. Basically, that respect for the animal carried forth all the way up to the modern age, basically. So basically, this is just an homage to, tribal culture in general. It is a sacred animal to certain, Nordic and Celtic gods. This particular one is from a company called Crafty Kilts, who I highly recommend. If you're looking for a little bling like this, they do good work.
And they're
And-
delicious.
Yeah, I know people who have actually hunted them.
Nice.
Not easy to do. And I mean, when I hunt, I don't mean like poo with a scope. I mean like with your back against a tree with a spear. You know how you do that?
On an island in the middle of the sun.
No. Stop.
Me never.
Yeah, that's how you hunt wild pig or boar.
Right.
Yeah, actually, with a spear, is like this. A boar hunting spear would have these giant prongs on it. You know, a couple of feet down from the point of the spear, and you would basically put your back against a tree and plant the spear in the tree, and when the boar comes running at you, it would impale itself, and the prongs are there to stop it from hitting you. Yeah, good times.
That sounds more aggressive than I would prepare to be.
Well, then you would not make it in the Middle Ages.
Not at all.
Our friend Aaron Wallace here has pointed out. Plus, a good boar makes bacon.
Yes,
It's kind of where I was going with it.
it is tougher meat.
Yeah.
It is tougher meat, and it'll little gamey like you'd expect. But
A few things I'll add
delicious.
to this general topic, though, are one, boars are featured in a couple of the clan crests, some of the
Yep,
more common
yep.
ones too. That's not why Eric
Absolutely.
is wearing his, but that
no,
is out
for me
there.
it's a tribal thing.
Aren't you a Campbell, though, anyway? No.
I am Campbell on my grandmother's side, but I have Stewart on my paternal side. So
But you could.
Yeah.
It could be there because he's Campbell.
yeah,
Campbell's a
I've
boar.
always found it amusing. They've got like the two big rival clans.
Yeah,
It's
I know.
so half of me hates the other half or something. I don't know. But
We have Boar's Head Quality Meats right down the road.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
And there are a couple of folks who have reached out to us via phone call or email recently who have suggested, in the spirit of our Fenrir buckle and some of those other custom buckles, that we should do some boar stuff.
I
It's
don't
been
disagree.
a rising tide of comments
disagree.
about
There are
this. By
some-
rising tide, I mean like two.
Yep. If you're for every two, there's at least 200 out there. I mean, come on.
We'll just wrap the Fenrir buckle in bacon.
Delicious. Delicious buckle bacon. No, I could see that actually, because again, boars are very, very common, very powerful animal.
Yeah.
Spirit animal, you could say, for a lot of folks.
Indeed.
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
For those who want to be impaled.
Or not. Or want to impale other people.
Fair.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to impale other people?
Oh, you're such a bull. All right. Just did they break you?
I like fun accents.
Oh boy, I have too many of them. None of them good. Aaron Peabody has a question. We're back to clothes again. Here's a smart daywear tweed question. If you're looking to add a bit of pop to your jacket, would you lean in the direction of a pocket square or a boutonniere? Assume we're working on the base of a solid colored shirt and a solid colored tie. So everything else is fairly standard.
I'm looking fancy today.
Is that a new one or a used one? Because it's gross if it's new. Yeah.
If I was going to have to go a little hoity-toity, I would do a pocket square.
I would agree. I think
Yeah.
now I know I don't know personally, but I used to follow the dandy community, which is a bigger thing back in the 2000s than it is now. And they would definitely advocate a boutonniere and a pocket square if you're really going for broke. But the boutonniere is more of a special occasion, like going out for just for the day kind of thing. It has to be fresh, otherwise you got a dead flower pinned to your lapel. That's awesome. But the pocket square is more standard and less fussy.
Now I'm
So-
just picturing you walking around with like a brown limp flower, just blah, 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 just kind of flopping around.
Or
That'd
like
be spectacular.
Peter Davison as Doctor Who in the 80s. He had celery on his jacket as his boutonniere.
I'm allergic to certain gases in the praxis range of the spectrum.
Well, how does the celery help?
If the gas is present, the celery turns purple.
And then what do you do?
I eat the celery.
Yeah, I mean boutonnieres are cool, I guess you could say, in a very dandy-ish kind of a way, in a fogey kind of fashion way, but they really haven't been something that gents do on the daily or regularly since like the 1940s. So
Yeah. I wouldn't.
yeah, I would just stick with the pocket square.
Yep.
Yeah.
Indeed. All right, Mr. Ian.
Yes.
As
Let's
my voice cracks.
go with a question from Eddie E on YouTube. Said, would sporran chains fasten around just the hips, as in I think like hanging from them, or are belt loops required? And furthermore, could you wear one on top of your hips with a pair of jeans, or would they need to be run through the loops? So 2 questions here. How is it staying up?
You want to wear a sporran with jeans?
Potentially on a kilt, but also with jeans or pants.
I wouldn't wear a sporran with jeans.
Full questions.
Yeah,
agree with that.
It would be odd to me.
I'll give a counterpoint, but let's get to the main. Let's talk about sporran chains in general first.
Sure.
Okay.
A sporran typically hangs around and is held up by your hips. So your rump keeps the sporran chain up and it kind of hangs down in the front. If you have a bit of a belly in the front, you can take the sporran chain and run it up above the buckle on the either side of your kilt, and then it just hangs down from the front of that. Wearing a sporran with jeans, I would not do such a thing.
We do have people who will sometimes run the sporran chain through the loops on a casual kilt. Again, this is specific to our product, so I can't answer for other kilts out there. But with a utility kilt or our casual kilt, which has 2 belt loops on the side and 1 at the center back, you could run the chain through those if for some reason you thought it felt more secure. You talk about some people having the noastal disease, and so you don't have the hip to rump ratio that keeps things from falling down, and the chain will just slip off. So that can be a similar problem to having a larger belly. You might want to consider running it through loops to help keep it up in that case, or using sporran hangers. There's really no wrong way to do it as long as the sporran is hanging the proper number of inches or finger widths below your belt buckle. It's basically, if it's right about there on you, then how you get it there isn't that important. Although I will say a chain looks better than sporran hangers. As for wearing a sporran with jeans, I'll give the one exception, because I like to give exceptions just to annoy you. Yes, I know. I could see you possibly using a simple day sporran as like a belt pouch instead of a fanny pack, and I'd wear it off to the side, and I'd use a strap, not a chain. So basically, you're wearing the sporran off to the side and using it for like a carry-all, like for a large cell phone or something like that. I see women do this kind of thing all the time. I don't see guys really doing it. You could, but it's going to look odd to most people, I think. That said, alternative pouches and things are becoming more and more popular. So I understand where the gears may have been turning for the question.
I just like the using the musical scale. You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your answer is you do you.
Yeah, but I like to try and give ways that you could do you if you really want to.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to, if you're going to you do you, just know
the rule you're breaking.
Yeah, know the rule you're breaking. Know whether or not it's going to be a pain in the ass to try to achieve the effect you want.
And it's not Highland wear.
And know that it's not Highland wear.
Yeah, because you're not wearing a kilt. It's something else. You're doing the opposite of what we normally do.
Yeah.
You're taking a little tiny piece of Highland wear and trying to incorporate it into your daily thing. So those
I think you do you is great as long as you look before you leave. I guess is what I'm saying. It's like
some intentionality to it.
Intentionality. Make sure you understand the details and make sure that it's practical enough that it's not going to be something that you do once and then think later, why the hell did I do that?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's basically it.
Yeah, I think my shorter answer is not recommended.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not recommended. Doable, but not recommended.
I've never done such a thing where I've said, "What the hell was I thinking?"
Oh, I thought you were going to say where you wore a sport.
No, I didn't do that. But
okay.
No.
Yeah.
Indeed.
But there you go.
All right, Mr. Erik.
To me already? Oh, wow. It's like every other time I have to answer a question. I just like to ask a question. All right. Jason Dugan, hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, says, I'm going to a Charles Dickens holiday fair next month and was wondering, were overcoats ever worn with formal-ish kilt attire? If so, what are some good options? I know what I'll say, but you can answer.
Were overcoats worn with kilts?
Kilt attire.
So Dickens, so we're thinking 1800s.
Correct.
Okay.
1850s usually.
Sure. Essentially, an Inverness cape would be the only thought I would have about it. Mm-hmm. If you're trying to do something period-esque. Mm-hmm. Inverness capes, bagpipers wear them today for rain capes. It's essentially a trench coat with no arms, and then a cape on the upper portion to kind of protect your arms. So it's a long vest with a cape. You can get those in tweed. You can get those in a black barathea. It is not cheap, but it can be done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically, if I may expound, I wouldn't say trench coat. Basically, the Inverness cape was invented as a hunting cover-up for people going up to the north, to Scotland, to go hunting. It kept your arms free. It was basically based on the 19th century greatcoat. If you look at images from the American Civil War, and you see all those guys in those big heavy coats with the capelet on top, very common piece of gear. And at some point somebody said, hey, I could move better if I didn't have these sleeves in my way. So that is where the Inverness cape came from. And for some reason it was associated with hunting in the Highlands. Therefore, it became associated with kilt wear, ipso facto ad hominem, But did they...
QED and all those words, yes.
I think you don't usually find pictorial evidence of people in the 19th century wearing some kind of an overcoat with Highland attire, because if you're going to take the time to have a photograph taken of yourself, you're not wearing an overcoat. I think the Inverness capes probably became pretty popular pretty early on, but again, they're more of a mid 19th to late 19th century invention. I'm not sure exactly when they came in. Prior to that, you would have the plaid, which you would use as an external warmth layer. So if you are a bluffo, very nationalist-oriented Scot, and you've decided to wear the national dress all the time because damn you English, and you are running around in your kilt in the mid 19th century, you're more likely probably to have thrown a plaid on, i.e., a warmth blanket, rather than having a specialized overcoat. If you did have an overcoat, it would probably have just been a regular overcoat, a greatcoat, or a coachman's coat, as we were talking about. But again, I don't really see pictorial evidence of that per se. I will look after this, though, because I'm curious. I would say for your purposes, you could do it. Sure. I mean, if it's basically just for the Dickens Fair, you could wear, an overcoat, a great coat. But I think a plaid might give you more of an effect. Give you more of the effect you want. If you want to look 19th century Scottish as opposed to, Victorian who doesn't have any pants on. So, well, that's the thing, because if you cover it, you only see the very bottom of the kilt, right? So it's kind of...
Or not.
Or not even. It just looks a little awkward. You might be ready to flash somebody. Oh, I'm Scottish!
Want to see my outfit?
No, it really is. I have a kilt on underneath. But modernly, the answer is that basically, if you want to wear a long overcoat because you want to keep your nice Prince Charlie outfit nice going from the car or the train into the venue where the big formal to-do is, then yeah, you wear an overcoat. Form follows function, and if you're trying to keep a nice outfit looking nice to get in out of the weather, sure, you wear what you need to wear. Is there a traditional form of overcoat today? No, not really.
Just insert long jacket style.
Yeah, long jacket to keep my outfit from getting mussed up.
Yep.
Now,
in the few instances I've had to go to a fancy, ball, so to speak, I either didn't wear a jacket in because it's just then I have to find somewhere to put it, and I have it on for a minute and a half as I go from the car to the event. So in my mind, it's just, unless there's inclement weather, I'm better off just putting the kilt jacket on, going in, and done.
Yeah,
I'll suffer for 30 seconds.
Yeah, I will say. I mean, context is king. If it's a proper venue, they should have a coat check. So you wouldn't have to worry about dealing with it. If you're going to a Dickens Fair, it's probably at the grounds of a Ren Fair or similar. It's probably an outdoor thing. So he's probably concerned about being warm in the evening.
Fair.
But there you go. The long and the short of great coats and Inverness capes.
Indeed.
Yep.
Mr. Ian.
I want to add here that Ian D has commented, and this is definitely not an alternate account that I've created to comment. Yeah, Ian D.
Okay.
He has said, I'm surprised on the Dickens subject, Eric's not pulling out a wee accent.
I do try to restrain myself once in a while. I was about to go... I was going to say, please, sir, may I have some more? But, yeah.
I'd like to say that I would never wear an overcoat with a kilt. It doesn't strike me as a good look, but I did just post a photo of myself wearing one in Kilts and Culture a couple of days ago.
For what?
On October 31st.
First Halloween.
Oh, okay. But that was
James
a
Allen
trench
Bob.
coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overcoat, trench coat is,
Context, man.
Yeah.
The one that I think works well is a peacoat. It's one of those classic styles that kind of goes well with everything.
Yeah.
It's a little bit long, but it still looks good.
Yeah, it's better because it's not quite as long as some of the other styles that I'm thinking
Yeah,
of too.
right.
I've worn a peacoat.
Longer
before.
coats are less popular now because we are not using public transportation as much, or walking as much. A long coat is less convenient to wear in an automobile.
Interesting.
So they become less popular as the 20th century and 21st century progressed.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but that makes sense.
That's basically what it comes down to. We wear our cars. Yeah. At least in the States we do.
Yeah.
That sounds difficult and heavy.
We're all turning into cyborgs, man.
Sweet.
Okay, so got a question here from M_RH. Don't know what that means. From YouTube. Is there an anatomy of tartans, like different parts, or is just whatever pattern you come up with? This is kind of a tartan design question.
We have a jargon, you could say.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are jargons, there are stripes, there are, broader sections, there are pivot points within a tartan. Anatomy. Ian.
I would say as I'm approaching how to pleat a kilt, this is coming from very much a kilt maker's perspective. I often think of them as having like two sections. Like you're thinking about black watch, you've got a green section, you've got a blue section, and then kind of like trying to work both those sections in. You can certainly have more complicated types of things, and I shouldn't have used black watch in the last example because technically that's what I'm going to say. You got like an A, B, A, C kind of a.
You can use Stewart hunting.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
four distinct sections.
Yeah, four distinct. So all the two of them are, well, I guess not in that case, but with black watch you've got two that are the same, so to speak. So there's definitely like certain types of patterns that designers often go back to, even if they're not exactly the same. They're kind of harking on older forms.
Yeah.
So.
Did you guys ever talk about like? See, I tend to borrow terminology from heraldry, but like, so I'll talk about like a base color or a field. Do you ever use jargon like that?
Yeah.
So I'll refer to like a field, a pivot point, and an accent stripe are the three terms I tend to use the most if I'm trying to talk to somebody.
Yes, I would also another phrase I just thought of is guard. So
Right. Yeah, guard lines.
if there's a white stripe and then there's two black two black threads on either side of the white, it kind of makes it stand out a little bit. They're called guards. I'm just trying to think of other phrasing specifically that we use. No, when I design tartans, a lot of times I will take either color palette inspiration or overall feel inspiration from a different tartan, but making sure that I'm putting my own spin on the whole thing so it doesn't look like something else. It can't be confused.
Now, the another way to think of this would be there is an official code for every tartan, and that's the thread count. So if you wanted to say that's more like the DNA of the tartan rather than an anatomy. But when you get into that, they will not say like the base field should be this and the accent stripe should be that. They will say the thread count is this, green 3, red 20, blah blah blah, and it's a code. So there is that. That's a different level of thinking that doesn't get into when you're describing the tartan in regular conversation or if you're talking about it as a kilt maker. It's just the data in the background.
Yep. It is the DNA how the mill would stack it up across the warp and the weft, and that's how they would define the different tartans.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
Indeed.
And after you take the right colored pill, you can start to see that in the
Yes.
pattern.
I see the sounds.
Yeah.
I hear the colors.
Yep.
That's just Dayquil.
Why didn't I take the black watch pill?
How many Matrix jokes are we going to put into this clip?
All of them.
Yep. What the hell is that?
The dodging
Matrix.
bullets.
The bullets. Come on. Sorry, I couldn't get back. I have a chair. I
Look
can't
more
get
like
back
a-
that far.
He's got to do
Seizure.
physical comedy since he can't talk much anymore.
I'm the Chris Farley of this.
I should have done the fat guy in a little coat joke for the last question.
Live in a Black Watch van down by the river.
Don't do
God.
that voice, you're going to destroy it.
Oh, man.
I'll whisper for the rest of the show. It'll be fine.
Sorry, guys.
Yes.
I'm looking over at the tech crew.
Yes.
Sorry. Oh boy,
All right, what do we got next, Erik?
this is my job. This is my job.
This is my life.
Easy question. Richard Whittington asked for some advice. How would you recommend hanging a kilt that is wider than one of your kilt hangers? I'm talking about kilts for the larger gentleman like myself. So, we sell custom-made kilt hangers.
Yeah.
Maybe they're available from other places too, but they're basically kind of long, and they have 4 very sturdy, grabby clips on them.
They are 20 inches wide.
20 inches wide.
Yes. So a kilt hanger 20 inches wide will fit in a standard closet. A standard closet, the center bar, I know way too much about hangers and closets. A standard closet, the center bar is about 12 inches from the back of the closet. So a 20-inch wide kilt hanger will fit in a standard closet. If you are a, let's say, 50-inch waist, so half of that is going to be 25, that'll be a little bit too deep. So what I would probably say is take your kilt, and instead of folding it into thirds like you were wearing it and clipping it across, I would fold it into quarters. So I'd fold it dead in half so that the straps match up at this end, and then you're grabbing the center back of the pleats, and then fold it in half again, and then clip one hanger on half, one hanger on the other part, and then put it in the closet that way. Yes, exactly.
I believe I actually hung this exact gentleman's most recent kilt that exact way downstairs.
Oh, really?
There you go.
And I know his waist measurement off the top of my head for some reason.
Okay.
His waist measurement was
60.
there
I
you go.
believe.
Hey, thank
Forgive
you
me
for
if
your
I'm wrong,
thank you
Richard.
for the purchase. Thank you for supporting us. I hope you're enjoying the kilt. So yeah, basically just 2 hangers stitched together.
Yeah.
But instead of folding it in thirds, fold it in quarters
Yeah.
to get it a little bit smaller or less deep.
Makes sense.
Okay, let's go with this question. This is a little off topic here, but from Remington Maxwell. How does it feel to be pseudo-celebrities? Some people watch movies or TV shows. I watch YouTube and read. You all are celebrities in my book.
You must have a very small book.
Yeah,
He says he
easily
reads.
amused.
It's weird. We don't think of ourselves as celebrities. There's
God's
A-list, B-list, C-list, D-list. We're down at we're the Greek alphabet.
We're not even influencers. Okay,
No.
I mean,
It's more. It's fun. It's something we want to do. It's something we nerd out about. Something we like talking about.
yeah.
So I won't speak for you. I love it, but it's always going to be off-putting. If somebody comes into the store and is just like, "Oh my God, I've watched all your videos," it's flattering as all get out, but it's still confusing to me that somebody cares. It's the easiest way to put it.
I'm like an introvert extrovert, so I enjoy performing, but I'm also very shy in other
Acting?
ways. So yeah, it's different. So it's very weird. I had somebody comment on a Facebook group for a group I'm in just the other night because the Scotch Ghost Tour video came up, and they're like, "Look what popped up in my feed," because I like ghost stuff. I'm like, "Oh God, here we go." So it's very strange. But it's also, I mean, we do it because it was good for the business and good for the community. And it's at the time when you started, it's just like, oh well, that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to go online and talk to people to So it's like, okay, and it just kind of went into this weird thing. I mean, I see the numbers for the videos and stuff, so it's, I mean, in our little tiny community, I guess people know who we are, but it's not like we're not celebrities.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, we have views in the thousands. Ooh, So.
No,
My entire college dorm has seen this video. Wow, but
no, but we appreciate the people that actually nerd out about the stuff that we nerd out about. It's fun to connect with people in a completely different 21st century way that 100 years ago, 20 years ago wasn't even really a thing. It's just through the internet, through the availability of us to put out videos, through the existence of YouTube and Facebook and things like that. That is the only reason why this moment in time exists. So it is fun, it is different, it is weird, it is beautiful, it is scary. It's all the things wrapped up. And we love every one of you for listening to us.
Yeah, I mean, I always enjoyed when I was working in the sales department. One of the best parts, the best part of the job was people coming into the store and talking to them, because it's like you're one of like a dozen people who wear the kilt in your area. So people come into the store, and some of them have driven like hours to come to the store, and it's like you have a camaraderie automatically. And I've heard some of the most amazing stories from people. Because of that, because they come in and they're talking about why they're into this stuff, and then they're talking about other parts of their lives, and it's fun. It's a way to socialize with people who you click with. So I think, if we lived in a big city, maybe, or if we lived in Scotland, it might be different. But here it's like, the electronic media is our crutch. I feel isolated otherwise.
No, but it's a different. Americans do it for different reasons than Scots do, or not even really Americans. It's just the diaspora, like Canadians, Australians, whoever. So it's neat to see people. It's neat to connect with people on a different level than has been done before about this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
indeed.
So the answer is in brief, it's just bizarre.
It's bizarre, but it's fun.
It's really bizarre.
Yeah, it's funny watching my wife react to certain things. Like, you're not a celebrity. I'm like, I am to like these 6 people. It's fine. Babe, I'm very famous.
My public!
Yes, my public awaits. Shut up and do the dishes.
Remember,
thou art camped out on the lawn.
Okay, Mr. Fancy Kilt, you go out and take the trash out now. Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Keep trying to convince her how famous I am. She doesn't believe me.
For me, the funny thing about this phenomenon has been that while I'm at best the 3rd, but more likely the 4th biggest personality on the show, I actually get this the most because I'm actually in the store talking to customers more often than either of the two of you or even Mac.
Yep.
So it goes to my head, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I've gone mad with power.
So they didn't ask you, Ian. They asked us.
But fair.
Did we say you were allowed to be in the corner right over there?
Being out of your box is a privilege, not a right, Ian.
But I will say, I don't think we're celebrities yet. I think it'll feel that way to me because like we get it in the store. Oh my God, you're the guy from the YouTube. I'm like, yeah, but I'm in the store where you expected to find me. Or if we've been recognized at the Flogging Molly show, which
that was the weirdest one because it was the most.
It's the weirdest one, but it's still
public.
a context that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay.
We'll get recognized at Celtic Classic, but again, the context makes sense.
It's a smaller sampling.
I'll believe that one of us is celebrities if we get noticed at a shopping mall or at a concert that's not Celtic and we're in pants. I feel like I can walk, even if there's people at a concert I'm at, of just a heavy metal show, and I'm wearing pants. There could be 20 people there who have seen me on the show and would know who I am if I was wearing a kilt, but they just out in the wrong context, they won't even notice.
Yeah.
Hey, who's that? What's that Jesus guy?
Now here's the question.
Context clues.
Here's the question I have for you two.
This is going on way too long.
Don't care. So we were at a Flogging Molly concert. The company took us USA Kilts took a bunch of employees to a Flogging Molly concert, and I was walking around trying to find Mac, and I had my kilt on, and I was stopped, and somebody said, "Hey, you're the guy from YouTube, Ian, Erik. In that scenario, do you feel the need to lie?" You're like, "No, I'm not." I weirdly lie about it. I'm like, nope. What do you mean YouTube? What is this YouTube you speak of?
Get out of here! I've never lied about it. I mean, I've been surprised.
Yeah, no, my initial reaction is lie, and then my brain kicks in and is like, okay, you can't lie, but it's always like, what do you mean?
Why are you asking?
The kilt guy, maybe.
Yeah, I think I've said that morning. It was like, are you? And I'll be like, maybe I am, maybe I'm
Who's
not.
Who's asking?
Why do you want to know?
Very suspicious.
Do you have a warrant?
Depends on which deep, dark corners of YouTube you're inhabiting.
That's true. Well, all those kilt people are weird. So.
Damn kilt people.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Adam, one of the marketing stooges over here, has pointed out that he's been recognized for the Shrek TikTok.
That's right. He is the Shrek guy.
Yes.
He's also our accountant. our accounting guy.
Steve from accounting? Okay, Mr. Erik. What do we got next?
Let's get back on track, shall we?
All right, look
Okay.
here, Mr. Famous Guy. Why don't you ask another question?
I'll be in my trailer. I can't take this anymore. All right, Jeff Herdzina? Sorry, Jeff. Jeff Herdzina. Let's go with
Good
that.
old Jeff.
Good old Jeff, the J-Man, J-Anator, said, thinking about firefighters' kilts right now. Is it okay to wear your department's patch on the kilt or not? I was imagining the patch at about where the kilt pin goes or a little above that. So is it okay to sew a patch onto your kilt? Now, he has a context for that. But
His
you
context is?
fire department.
Oh, fair. Sure, it depends on the kilt and what you're wearing it for. I've seen Highland athletes with a bunch of patches kind of lined up. I've seen, people at punk rock shows, with a bunch of patches all over their kilts. You have a utility kilt with a bunch of patches on it.
Yep.
So in that instance, for a casual type setting, sure.
Yeah.
If you're a patch type person, sure, knock yourself out. If you're trying to wear it traditionally as well, I might safety pin it on so you could take it off. I wouldn't iron it on. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. It's once you've done it, it's hard to go back. So I think for a casual kilt, kind of a day look, a festival look, a parade thing, sure, why not? Enjoy and fly the flag so your brothers find you. I know military guys who do this, but it's more often with old cap badges or collar dogs and stuff they might put on the apron above the kilt pin.
Yep.
But it's the same idea. It's basically it's an additional identifier so that your peeps find you and you have a point of conversation. It's fun. But yeah, I wouldn't do it on a good kilt. I would do it on something that you're just planning for very casual wear only. You don't want to mess up a Goodwill kilt by doing something like that.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mr. Ian.
So let's go with a question. We've certainly done a question like this before, but it's a good one. B_rad410 on TikTok again.
Whoop, whoop.
Been thinking about it for a while now. I presume you're starting getting into the kilt game. What would be first steps in getting started? Where do you start?
The very first steps in getting started in wearing Highland wear?
Yeah, not sure where to start. What's the first step? Assuming you're not going full boar, and dropping $2,000 on all the kit and caboodle.
Yeah, that's kind of the qualifier is what is the budget, and what do you want to accomplish out of it, or is this for a wedding, or is this for a festival? Is this for something where you have your trust fund baby, or are you living paycheck to paycheck? So it depends on where you're coming from with it. If you have, let's assume, minimal budget.
Yeah.
Where I would start is the kilt itself. The rest of your outfit, you can upgrade or downgrade or change things in and out sort of simply. So I would start with the kilt itself and say, what I've said in the store multiple times, buy the best kilt you can afford. Do not mortgage your house, but you will not regret getting a nicer kilt, but you could regret getting a lower end kilt if you're going to be wearing it more often. So start there because the kilt is basically the centerpiece of the outfit. From there, I would get if you have a limited budget, a simpler day sporran, maybe a kilt belt and buckle, and then either work with the shirt you have or, add or subtract, based on what you're trying to achieve as far as, formal versus casual.
Yeah, that's basically it. We sometimes say that basically a kilt outfit is just regular clothes, take away the pants, add a kilt instead. It can be that simple if you're getting started. Absolutely don't break the bank. If you're feeling very, very unsure, like, you're worried about community reaction or like you're not sure if you're going to find it comfortable after all or something like that, then yeah, go for something that's a budget, or go with something that's basically is a temporary solution. You're going to give it away or resell it. You could do that, I suppose, I will never recommend somebody buying an acrylic kilt, but I know that sometimes that's a good gateway for people who are on a budget and trying to test the waters, so to say.
Yep.
But essentially, in ascending order, I would say kilt first, then a sporran, just a day sporran, something you can beat up but looks okay, and then kilt hose and flashes, because that's the easiest thing to add if you want to look a little bit more dressed up, or if it's cold out and you want a little more warmth on your legs. And then you start getting into, then a belt and buckle.
Yep.
Actually, I guess I put the belt and buckle ahead of the kilt hose, but kilt hose are so cheap, it's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a budgetary way to get into it. And then for up top, you can either wear a dress shirt, you can wear a sweater, you can wear a sweater vest with a dress shirt underneath it. There are a few different ways to incorporate things that you might already have into the outfit so that you can kind of build as you go along. You don't have to drop all the money right out of the gate to be able to be dressed to the nines. If you have the money, great, do it. If you don't, then just kind of build it over time.
Yeah. And I will say the other rule of thumb I always give is the KISS rule. Keep it simple. If you want to look like you're taking this stuff seriously and that you're in it with forethought, don't wear the bright neon, Air Jordan sneakers. Do they even make those anymore? I don't even know.
They should.
Yeah. Don't wear those with a kilt. Wear something simple like boots in black or brown. Don't do the Monster Truck Rally 22 t-shirt with a kilt. Wear simple, something solid color shirt. Have a little bit of Celtic bling. There are little things you can add that make it look like, he meant to put that outfit together, and he's serious. Not like you just kind of threw it on at random. But they're easy to do. They're simple to do, and they're not expensive. At the risk of sounding like a commercial, I will say, if you look at our website, we have things called packages, which are designed to help people get started. And I'm not saying you have to do one of our packages, but the point is, if you look at how we put together a casual package, you'll see all these elements we're talking about broken down. And the finished product is a standard kilted outfit. So just make yourself a list. This is how much I have to spend on the kilt. This is the other things I want. This goes on the wish list. This goes on the, hey, Grandma, I'd really like this for Christmas list. And these are things I already have in my closet, which I can wear with the kilt. And that's it.
Yeah, especially if you are difficult to buy for. Have your family, have your friends who are going to be getting you gifts for an occasion. Give them hints or tell them, hey, there's this really, really cool company. I forget the name. I think it's usakilts.com. Get me a gift certificate to there to kind of bolster your budget and then be able to buy the sporran of your dreams or the kilt of your dreams or whatever and put it towards the outfit. You don't have to do it alone. If you are as difficult to buy for as I am, just have everyone kind of get you towards the goal or move the ball down the field a little bit.
Yeah. But it's basically getting into this. It's like eating peanuts, I mean, you just take the long view, just get the kilt, whatever kilt you can afford, that's decent quality now, and then just roll with it. Take your time. You got all the time in the world. Make sure it feels right. Make sure it's something you're going to enjoy wearing, because you don't want to buy it and then have it sit in the closet gathering dust. So,
agreed.
Yeah. Go for it.
Mr. Ian.
I think I interpreted this question just a pinch differently than you guys did. Not so much.
Of course you did.
Budget, more so like, I'm not sure if I'm all about this life. Maybe I just want to dip my toe in the water. So in that case, I'd say just start with a kilt. See how you like it. Wear it around the house.
Yeah.
Expand from there if you're feeling it.
And my brain went in that direction too. Is basically this easily dovetails into the next question in a sense that how do I wear the kilt for the first time? And I don't know if you guys can hear on TikTok and hear him well, but because of the way our mics are set. But basically, you get the kilt. The first thing I recommend is wearing it at home for a couple of days, doing just stuff putzing around the house. Take out the garbage, mow the lawn, sit down and stand up. Sounds simple, but seriously, sometimes people feel weird getting started sitting down in a kilt. Do that at home so you can feel like it's a natural part of you. Then go out to someplace that's familiar. Probably with a friend or friends. It could be a bar. It could be a mundane thing like just going shopping. It could be going to a Ren fair. It could be going to a Celtic fest. But go someplace where you feel like it will be easy to insert yourself into the environment. And sometimes that means having a posse with you, sometimes, or a crew. or fam, if you will. And sometimes it means someplace that's very quiet, like you and your SO go out on a date someplace where there won't be a lot of people, but you can kind of practice. So
Make-out point.
Make-out point.
Exactly. A kilt is good for make-out point. I would also say...
Well,
hard stop.
Yeah.
I will say that a kilt and a sporran are the entry level
Yeah.
of things you need to do.
Yeah.
I would also say, to your point about wearing an outfit the first time and getting some confidence or trying to figure out what you like and how you like it, look at Facebook groups. Go join the Kilts and Culture Facebook group or any of the other kilt groups that are out there and sort of look at the photos of other guys wearing kilts and how they wear it, how they accessorize it, and kind of find your own style within it.
Yep, I agree. Almost every single kilt ambassador that we've ever had, one of the questions I always ask them is, what would be your advice to a newbie? And they almost always say, do your homework first. So, yeah, there's that.
Mr. Ian.
Hope that helps.
I'd like to share a few comments before we move on.
Sure.
Of course you would.
So Canuck Defender says, don't start. That's his advice. It's addictive.
It is addictive.
He follows up with, kilts are like crack. Once you start, it's hard to stop. And then BRed412, who asked this original question, has added, he says, great, thanks for the info. I live in Maryland. I'll come visit you guys soon.
Thanks.
You know where we are.
Drive safe. But yeah, come on up anytime.
All right, was that your question or his?
That was my favorite question of the day, officially.
Ian's question?
Yep.
All right, Mr. Erik, next.
I like helping out somebody who's new to it.
Absolutely. We all have to start somewhere.
Me, I started under a rock. Shannon's sofa.
All I got was a rock.
I got a rock.
I got a chocolate bar. I got a quarter. I got a rock.
Technical question. How much better does an 8-yard kilt hang over a 5-yard kilt?
How much better does an 8-yard kilt hang than a 5-yard kilt? It depends almost as much on the weight of the material as it does on the yardage of the kilt. There's kind of a sliding scale, if you will. An 8-yard kilt, the pleats are going to be a little bit narrower on the face and a little bit deeper. Ian, why don't you bring yourself in for this one as well? How much better does an 8-yard kilt? For those not paying attention, how much better does an 8-yard kilt hang and swing and whatever than a 5-yard kilt?
I'm sorry, we're dealing with a technical issue. I wasn't entirely paying attention, but thank you for bringing me up to speed here.
You're quite welcome. No one knew that, Ian.
Yeah, I would say that the hang of both garments is very similar. I would say a lot of people aren't going to, if they're looking at the back of two gentlemen, one wearing an 8-yard and one wearing a 5-yard, they're not going to notice the difference in the way it hangs.
Right.
Swing is a different question.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say for people who are concerned, they're in the store, they're thinking about an 8-yard kilt, but they're concerned about budget, and they're thinking, well, what is a 5-yard is it good enough? Is it as good? And I'd say, it depends on where you're going. Like, if you're going to a wedding and you're going to be the only one or one of a very small number of people in kilts there, nobody's going to notice a difference in the way it hangs.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a very stuffy event where there's lots of people in kilts and they put their nose up at anything less than an 8-yard kilt,
then you don't want to be there.
Then they'll notice. And yeah, maybe you don't want to be there. But yeah, the swing is a little different. It's a little more desirable than an 8-yard kilt.
Yeah.
But just to stand there still, I think the only thing most people would notice, if you're even asking them to look, is that the pleats are a little wider in a 5-yard kilt. There's a little bit fewer of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it may be
pretty much.
maybe a slight different hang on a 5-yard than an 8-yard, but not a whole lot. It's more the depth of the pleats in an 8-yard kilt allows the creases in the innermost depth and the outermost depth to be a little bit more flat, if we're going to nitpick. But 99.9% of the public will not know this.
The flat creases is a way you haven't put it quite that way before, so that's interesting. Yeah, I mean, basically, and we've said this before, the only reason an 8-yard kilt was invented in the first place was to get a more visual effect of the pleats swinging, especially on parade. It was born out of the military. Basically, if the guys are marching up the Royal Mile, you want them to look cool, then you make sure those kilts are going vroom, 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 vroom with the drums.
Vroom.
Yeah, vroom, exactly, because that's the sound. Yeah, it's the fabric rubbing here gets that vroom, 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 vroom. No. So yeah, I mean, if you're concerned about not getting the good kilt because you can only afford a 5-yard, don't. It's going to be fine. 9 times out of 10 it's going to be fine.
And the amount of yardage in a kilt has evolved over time. I mean, it started as a essentially 4-yard kilt,
Right.
and it's kind of moved up, and the sweet spot, so to speak, is about 8 yards for the maximum swing, a good depth, a reasonable narrow face on the pleats.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved into that, much more than 8 yards on a standard guy or 9 yards on a little bigger guy.
Yeah.
And it starts to get too cumbersome, but a 5-yard kilt is still, a nice...
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice quality
I will
kilt.
say I personally do like the feel of an 8-yard kilt more than a 5-yard. I can feel because I can feel the movement. I can feel how it's holding onto my body and everything. It just feels more solid, and I just like it better from an aesthetic experience.
Yeah.
But I like the feel of it. But I don't want to wear an 8-yard all the time, especially in the summer.
Yep, that's what I was going to
So,
say. In the summer,
yeah.
I tend to lean towards 5-yarders, where it's a little bit more
Absolutely.
balanced front and back. It's a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
But an 8-yard in the winter, or if you're indoors, is fine.
Yep.
Yep,
There you go.
absolutely.
Hope that helps.
Indeed.
Sorry, that was your line usually. Here, go ahead. Go ahead. Say it now.
Hope that helps. Ian, anything else to add?
No, I think I got everything in there
Fair,
that I was
fair.
going for.
He pays attention all the time.
Yeah.
All right.
Tons.
That was mine. So it's your turn.
Let's do it. So Brett Peters asked us on Facebook. He says, I'm going to get a waistcoat made of the tartan I just ordered. What are your thoughts on square or on the bias? I'm leaning towards squaring.
Does he happen to say if he's a larger gentleman or a thinner
He
gentleman?
does not say. And I, oddly enough, don't know all of
yeah.
our customers' measurements.
Pop that in if you don't mind. But if you're still watching.
For me, if I'm wearing a vest, a tartan vest with the kilt, I would do it on the bias, because it would look, if you do it on the square, you have to make sure that the center line that's going down the buckle or the buttons matches up with the center gig line on the kilt. B, or 2, if it doesn't match up, or if it could look weird, or it could look like a little kid's jumper where it's, the pattern just goes straight down. So I would tend to do a vest on the bias and a kilt, obviously, on the square.
Like a romper.
Yeah.
Except it's tartan, not corduroy.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, my sisters wore those all the time back in the 70s. But anyway, yeah, I agree. I mean, I think sometimes there's something to be said for straight versus on the bias, depending on the size of your body. I feel like I kind of like regular if you're a larger guy and you're wearing it as a tartan vest with trousers.
Yes.
I really personally dislike straight tartan on a vest if you're wearing it with a kilt. I think you really, really want that break in the pattern just to add definition. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
Your mileage may vary, but that's my thought. I also prefer flat bottom as opposed to pointed bottom hem on waistcoats. But what are you laughing
I was
at?
just like, don't say that. People are going to now ask for it.
Oh, sorry. I didn't say that.
Write your emails to ian@usakilts.com.
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be my thinking. That'd be
Maybe
my
bone
preference.
buttons or buttons that we can't get.
Okay.
They could email
Oh
me
yeah,
about
yeah.
that too.
Mhm.
Very good. Very good.
Maybe gold.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? Have somebody Photoshop you into the outfit and see what you think.
Yeah, but generally
But I'm betting
speaking,
you're also going to feel like on the bias is going to look better on you.
yeah, generally speaking, 99% of the tartan vests that we sell for wearing with kilt are on the bias, and
Yep.
most of the kilt or most of the tartan vests that we sell that are worn with pants are square.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep,
That's a good point.
I
Yep.
think so. Yep.
indeed. Mr. Erik, we'll do one more from you and maybe one more from the interwebs.
Yowza. Okay. There's another another fit question. Stephen Funk Jr. asked, could a great kilt, possibly PV, be a good option for someone looking to lose weight, since you can size down a great kilt easier than a standard tailored kilt? So is a great
Okay.
kilt worn casually the way it's becoming more popular to do? be a good option if your weight is fluctuating?
It is, yes. A great kilt is just a length of cloth that you hand pleat on the ground and, wrap yourself up in it with a belt. Is that more forgiving for someone who's losing weight? Absolutely. But it depends on what you want the finished thing to look like. If you don't like the look of a great kilt and you don't want to look period-esque, then no, don't get a great kilt. If you want the look of a traditional kilt, then get a traditional kilt. If you're losing weight, maybe get the you on the last hole so that you can lose a little bit of weight and the kilt still fits.
Yeah, there's more than one way to do it. If you're just getting started in this, and you've not really worn a kilt before, I would go with a low-end, something like our casual kilt, rather than a great kilt, because you could find the great kilt less functional for any old occasion than you think. Also, my experience is that larger gentlemen tend to have more of a challenge getting a great kilt to stay where they want it than a regular tailored kilt. And it takes a lot of practice to get the pleats so where you like how they're looking. Now, there's an art to it, and if you want to engage in that as a personal exercise, then yeah, that's another level of enjoyment. But I think something where, like a Velcro closure kilt, again, I don't mean to tout our products, but it's what I know. You can have the Velcro overlap or underlap to a degree. You don't have to get the buckles moved or anything like that. Your belt is going to cover the Velcro anyway, so it's easy to have it fit, whether you're losing weight or gaining some weight even. So I would consider that if you were talking about an option for somebody who's just getting started. Now, if you're talking about something that you want to have as a bridge, because you've been wearing kilts for years, but now you're getting into a weight loss program, and like in 6 months after all the CrossFit, you're going to be whoop, then yeah, maybe playing with a great kilt would be a good and fun option. But the tone of the question made me think it's like they're just getting started.
Yeah, if you're just getting started, I would start with some kind of, I won't say normal kilt, but some kind of like kilt that everyone recognizes as a kilt versus
a tailored
costume-esque.
Yeah, tailored kilt.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, Mr. Ian, we will do one more from you.
Okay. So Ron Bressett asks, he asked this on YouTube, is it possible to start making the Irish County tartans in PV?
That is a great question.
It's a wonderful question, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
The unfortunate answer is most likely no. The Irish County tartans are copyrighted. They're owned by the House of Edgar. And polyviscose fabric is done by Martin Mills. So two competing entities. So I think Martin Mills did, I don't know if they still do, they did the County Fermanagh tartan, but they no longer do it. That was some kind of agreement that they had between the two different mills. But basically, House of Edgar has little to no desire to do anything with polyviscose, and Martin Mills doesn't own the rights to the county tartans, so they really won't be able to. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, you could argue theoretically they could work together on this, and Martin Mills, if they were so desirous, could probably work out an agreement to pay them. But then you're kind of taking away from some of the advantages of PV in that it's less expensive. So I wouldn't count on something like that ever happening.
Yeah,
even as we're trying to speak for entities we're not part of anyway.
Right.
I know a little bit more backstory. Basically, Martin Mills, there was an agreement reached. I'll skip the preamble. There was an agreement reached, and House of Edgar allowed Martin Mills to weave the County Fermanagh tartan for a period of time, and as kind of an exercise to see how much would they sell in polyviscose, Martin Mills had to pay them a commission on every meter sold. But it wasn't worth it to House of Edgar, so they just kind of said, meh, nope, we're not going to do this. So when Martin Mills ran out of cloth, they just said, okay, we're done.
That was it.
Yep. So, all right, Ian.
Sad.
That was a sad answer. Give me another question.
Sure, I've totally got one ready to go.
Good to hear.
Gloom45 on YouTube asked us a little while ago for dressy events, ties or like garter ties or flashes. Do you have a strong opinion on one being more appropriate than the other?
Garter ties or flashes?
Versus flashes.
And does the dressiness of the event affect this decision?
Used to be it wasn't even an option until relatively recently. I mean, the garter ties were the precursor of flashes. Flashes came about because the military got sick of dealing with garter ties.
Yeah.
So the flashes, as we know it, are basically an elastic garter. The flash is a ribbon of tartan or a ribbon of fabric which hangs down and looks nice.
So pretty.
Until recently, with garter ties coming back as a fashion option, your choice was fish, as Mac would say. So there really isn't a precedent for saying that one is better than the other. I would say that I personally like garter ties. I think they look kind of snazzy from a more organic, retro kind of a way.
They're different.
They're different.
Yep.
At least for now, they're different. If they get more acceptance, then they'll be garter ties. The flashes give you a more crisp look, but I don't know. And most people are going to expect to see flashes, but I don't know. I don't think there's a big distinction in terms of it's how you want your outfit to look. You know,
it's the little tiny details that help make the outfit yours. So if you like garter ties, wear garter ties. If you like flashes, wear flashes. These are the little tiny details that allow you to show some of your personality, your personal flair in the outfit. Same thing as a kilt pin, same thing as a boutonniere or a pocket square. These are all little tiny things that you can do to differentiate yourself from the unwashed masses, so to speak.
Or even the washed masses.
Either washed or unwashed, all the masses. Mm-hmm. So for me personally, usually I just wear flashes, frankly, because they're easier. It's just an elastic, boom, done. But I got a pair of garter ties recently and kind of like them.
I find them. They're comfortable. I actually like them better than the elastic, personally, in terms of comfort. And because I tend to like more retro, fogey-ish 19th century guy kind of vibes, I dig them from that standpoint.
They did a less good job of keeping my hose up.
Really?
But
okay.
I did like the way that they look. Mm-hmm. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. That's a good point. If you're worried about your hose falling down, like if you're doing something vigorous like dancing, I might go with the flashes, not the garter ties. Like if you're going to be doing Scotch country dancing or something.
The twist.
Then maybe stick with the flashes.
I just want to dance now.
Skanking.
Yep.
Yeah.
What'd you call him?
Do the ska, Ian.
Yep.
Very good. Thank you, boys and girls, for tuning in. Erik.
Yeah.
You had a question of the day that you wanted to ask.
I have a couple now, but I'll stick with the original idea, which was basically at the beginning of the show we were talking about sport teams and stuff. So I was going to say
sports teams.
Sports teams.
All the balls.
All the guys. If there is an organization out there, sports or otherwise, that you feel deserves a tartan and doesn't have one, who would it be and why? Why should X group have a tartan of their own?
And tag them in the comments.
Tag them in the comments.
Yes.
And why should they contact us to design it for
No. You need to do that.
No, they should never contact us to design their tartan for them.
No.
Yes, indeed. All right, boys and girls. Thank you, and until next time, Slàinte mhath. On today's episode of Kilts and Culture with USA Kilts, we try the Glenlivet Enigma.
I broke the code. It's whiskey.